Good evening. Welcome, everybody. My name is Inbaal. I'm a psychic, tarot reader, and witch, and I am here live from the UK on the Bigfoot Outlaw Network. We are a channel chock full of esoteric programming. We've got some psychic stuff, some witchy stuff, some Bigfoot stuff, some ghosty stuff. We have programs for every taste. If you enjoy a bit of mystical programming, are you in the right place? What I do here once a week, we do a little bit of psychic development together. We might chat about our psychic experiences or get stuck into a psychic technique or share about things that we do or that we've done. We might talk about tarot or crystal balls. There's usually a topic, but not always. You're welcome to send messages to the screen and they would look like this. This is a little twisted. He says, hello, beautiful souls. Hey, Inbaal, good to see you. Good to see you too. Your message might look like this. Mark B saying, good evening, Mrs. H. I hope that you're well. Tonight, I feel, will be a good night for learning. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. So when you come onto the channel, make sure, especially if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and make sure that you've got your notifications turned on so that every time one of us goes on air, you can get involved. The more you interact with us, the more we're able to keep creating content, especially for you, for free. Right now, we are broadcasting on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Instagram. All the platforms except for Instagram can send messages to the screen, which I'm going to share with you. Those of you who are watching me on Instagram, hiya. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to see your messages. So let's flash what we've got coming in. Mark B says, P.S. Good evening, everyone. Given we don't all see each other, but hello and welcome. So some of you might be watching on my Inbaal Psychic YouTube. Some of you might be watching on the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube, so you might not see each other, but I can see all of you when you send messages. I can't see you just for watching. I can see how many people are watching in total, but I can't see each and every one of you. Lorna says yoo-hoo to everyone. Sandy says hello and Inbaal blessings. Kim Princess says hi everyone. Hi Princess. And we've got you greeting each other. Thank you so much. Very exciting to have you all on here. How have you been? I've got a fun topic that I think will be great for all of us to enjoy together. But just so that you know, first of all, because I'm in the UK and a lot of you are in the USA, you might be thinking, why are we doing this at a different time? The UK hasn't switched to summertime yet. The UK also has not yet switched to summer. And the two go hand in hand. Oh, we've got Michelle Ann Tarot saying hi and bye. Michelle Ann was, of course, a guest on this show with her art and her tarot. She's a very, very talented reader. And I'm sure we'll have lots of fun stuff to share with what I want to talk about today. So we're still at the same time, and it's still going to be 2 more weeks, 3 weeks in total, that the UK hasn't switched to summertime yet, and the US has switched to summertime. Some of the shows will still be the regular time, UK time. Some of the shows will be the regular time, US time. Bear with me. Like I said, switch on your notifications and you're not going to miss a show. Also, you can check with me. If we're friends on Instagram, if we're friends on Facebook, you can check with me. Any kind of messages, any kind of emails, any WhatsApp comes directly to me. So you're not dealing with, with like a service or anybody else. What I wanted for us to chat about today is about all the different unofficial ways. Michelle says no, UK is definitely not summertime yet. Yeah, do you know, I went running today, and I had to wear like layers, and it looked really sunny, but it really wasn't. So yeah, the summer is still going to be a while. Rob is here saying hi. Oh, I'm very excited. The reason I'm very excited is because many psychics are already watching and have already said hi. The topic I wanted to look at today is how to do all the different ways that you can do unofficial, like informal readings. So we look a lot at the tarot, crystal ball, pendulum, I suppose. The other day I found my pendulum that I haven't been able to find for weeks. It's back in its perch, but it was in my handbag for for probably 2 months. So pendulum, we might look at oracle cards. We might even look at, palmistry. We certainly look into astrology. But for a lot of you, whether you think of yourselves as psychics or not, you probably found that the universe can communicate to you in many, many different and fascinating, perhaps bonkers ways. So I wanted to share some of the ways that I like to sort of do readings or play with the psychic side of life, and I invite you to share some of your stories. I'll start with some stories about parties that I used to work at. So when I lived in London primarily, and a little bit since, I used to entertain at parties as part of the psychic entertainment, which is definitely a thing, and it's a very fun thing. And sometimes you get booked specifically to do palmistry, which is a very kind of mix and mingle art, fabulous for parties. And sometimes with tarot, which is why I have a tarot bag that's easy to dangle on the arm, and also to put tips in. Boys and girls, remember to tip your server. But every once in a while, I'd get like a quirky booking. And so the one time I was booked for a party that was run by a champagne manufacturer, champagne distributor, and it was a champagne party in Regent's Park. It's very posh. And I turned up, and they were like, "Can you do champagne readings?" Now, this is the entertainment industry. The only answer is yes. Can you do champagne readings? Yes, of course. If you're really feeling it. And they were like, "How does it work?" And I was like, "Let me demonstrate." While at the same time, I'm thinking, what am I going to demonstrate? Never tried that before, but I'm sure it'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out. So the person I was talking to handed me their champagne glass, and I looked at the bubbles, and I could see that like one of the bubbles was kind of chasing the other one. And I was like, "Oh, you grew up like second in your family, and you're always chasing like your biggest sibling, always trying to catch up to them." And they're like, "Oh, yes, I was second. It was exactly the relationship with the first." And then sort of some of the bubbles were kind of mingled together. And I'm like, "Okay, so you're in a very sort of close-knit work environment," and basically sort of picking up on messages psychically, just sort of using whatever I could rely on as kind of a cue. And a very, very similar thing happened the one time when I was booked by a terrible agency to come and do sand readings. So it was kind of the same. I turned up, and that agency actually dealt with a lot of psychics. But I turned up, and they're like, "Can you do sand readings?" And I was like, "Yeah." Never considered the idea in my life. But I was like, can you just sort of make a doodle in the sand, something for me to go on? And she drew a heart. And I said, obviously it doesn't take a genius to say that you're a heart-centered person. So, that was kind of obvious. But it would also saying to me, because the heart was very even, then you're the kind of person that always reflects what other people say, that you're kind of a people pleaser, and say like the top of the heart was very, very rounded and the bottom of the heart was kind of skinnier. So I said, you're more about what's on the outside and sort of expressing things, and you leave your emotions to one side and the people please. Anyway, those messages were really, really correct for that person. So what I was wanting from you, because I'm very passionate about picking up messages from whatever I can get. If I can't make a decision, sometimes I'll just turn a tarot card over in my mind, and it almost 100% of the time would be the Emperor card. I think I just have a very good relationship with the Emperor card, and that will not always give the same message, but it'll always be the same card, just sort of coming with a different message. But sometimes the message will come from looking out into the water and seeing something, or looking at the steam as a kettle is boiling to make a tea. So I would love to hear from you what different ways you've either experienced or are looking into or are surprised that have worked for you. In the meantime, just that, if you want to send in questions, we can do that as well. That's amazing. So Michelle Ann says, wow, that's really cool, right? With a champagne. But this is like, I know you, and I know that you would be able to do it like, 20 times better than I would. It's just sort of you're just being given the opportunity. You're there, you're on the spot, you have to do it, so you've got to do it. Mark says runes, tea leaves, dreams. Yes, very good. Crystal ball, water is a big one. Obsidian mirror. There are a list of 6 that I know of that you've not mentioned. I use runes, dreams, tarot in my case. Yes, water is incredible. An obsidian mirror and also an obsidian ball. An obsidian ball is amazing. And then he's correcting, saying leaves, not leaves. Autocorrect got me. Kim Princess says, I could never do that with a champagne. Not with this attitude, you couldn't. But if you said to yourself, maybe, I'll give it a try. Why not? Then maybe you could. There's a lot of, I was going to say self-belief that goes into it. Self-belief is a part of it, but also the belief that the right words will come to you when you open your mouth. And it's something that, when I say champagne, it sounds like it's so mysterious, like it's such a big deal. But Mark picked up on water. Reading sort of the steam is water. Scrying in a water and ink solution, that's water. Looking out into a lake or into the sea is water, and water is so useful in giving information. So the champagne was kind of right there with it. We've got lots of ideas coming in. So Michelle says good afternoon. Hey. Lorna Nicole says clouds, right? How did we even start without mentioning clouds? Because this is something that you will have done as a child. This is something that you do as a human being, sort of so naturally. You lay on your back as a child, you look up at the clouds, and you say, this cloud looks like this cloud looks like that. Looking up at the sky was the necessary component for astrology to even begin. Looking up at the sky is, kind of where it all sort of started. And Sandy is adding a wonderful suggestion with candle wax. So Sometimes you can even get candles. Is this one on? No, sorry, this is an incantation candle, but the same brand make glitter candles as well. But sometimes you can get a candle that is a glitter candle, or even if it's sort of got multiple colors in the candle, so you see how it burns, how it lights. Sometimes I'll do a spell, and then the wick would do something funny, and I'll be like, oh, that, that's probably a message for the person who's having the spell. I'll give you an example. It wasn't even candle wax. Sorry, you're saying candle wax, and I'm giving you an example from the candle wick. But this gorgeous client I have in California, she wanted healing for her cat. I never charge for healing. I lit a candle for her cat. And then, to my amazement, like, I filmed it for her. I went out. I'm still like present with the candle. I never leave the candle, unattended-ish. But I went to the other room. When I came back, the candle is already sort of burnt some of the way, but the wick kind of split at the top so that it looked like candle ears. And I filmed it for her and sent it to her. And I was like, look, the candle knows that it's doing healing, for a cat. So with candle wax, I know that's not what you meant, but sometimes you can sort of see it as it's melting. But then when a candle melts, you can see kind of where the wax goes naturally. And then you've got the two different methods of dripping the candle wax. You can either drip it on water. So we're touching on what Mark had said before, right? Water is such an incredible tool when it comes to scrying, when it comes to sort of figuring out messages. So you can drip candle on water, and that is something that I know is sort of quite common in witchy circles. Or you can drip the candle on, on something else that won't burn, that won't melt, and then you see what shapes that that molten wax has made. And the shape could be, it's like reading tea leaves. It's like reading the clouds. The shape could remind you of a heart. It could remind you of a mountain. It could remind you of a road, a car, a book, an envelope, a phone. And all of those different symbols can band together to deliver a message. And similarly, Laura Nicole says fire flame. So fire flame is such an incredible tool to sort of figure out what is coming, what is going on. The example with the candle is a little bit like fire flame, but also I'm going to say something weird. Just go with me on this one. Fire flame, because it's so kind of unpredictable, it can be very high, it can be very low, it can dance, it can be still. When you practice manifesting, and I'm trying to sort of not use the word for like full magic, when you practice like esotericism, when you practice magic, one of the best exercises is trying to influence the candle flame. Stare at it really, really intently, flex your brain in a special way, and try to make the candle flame increase, or try to make it look smaller, or try to make it go to the side. Just try. I'm not saying, maybe it work, maybe it don't work, but just give it a try. And obviously, fire flame, or even like a big bonfire, stay safe, can deliver messages. The bigger it is, really, the more possibilities you have. So you could hear like things crackling in it, or you can hear the fire kind of dancing. You can see the different colors. So if you've got like a flame with yellow sort of being very, very prominent, could that mean something? If the red component is very prominent, could that mean something? So yeah, excellent idea. Mark says, there is one mentioned years ago with an apple skin. I've never tried it, but know of it. The initial of a lover or something. Absolutely. So that's connected with a spell as well, but but it doesn't have to be a spell. And it's one of those that always come up in Valentine's. So I do quite a lot of work with the press, and they always want to know like like love spells when it comes up to Valentine's. Comes around every year. So one of them that, again, I've not done ever either, but you're supposed to peel an apple in a single strip. Peel the apple. I fancy an apple so much now that I'm saying it. Sorry, let me drink some water. Peel the apple in a single strip so that it's one line of a long apple peel, and then throw it behind you, and then turn around and see what the initial is. Did it land like an M? Did it land like an S? Did it land like a W? And that is meant to give you the initial of the person who you will marry. Because they're like old spells. So it's not going to be the initial of a lover. Heaven forbid. You don't want them to call the town elders. It'll be the person you will marry. Yeah. Michelle is greeting. Robert says, and I flung it onto the screen without reading before, so I really hope it's there's nothing naughty in there. Do you remember I went through a phase of people appearing to me as flowers and the color of the flowers relating to chakras and that being a message? I remember, but yeah, please sort of tell the full story. So each person that you would read to, or was it people like in real life, would appear as flowers of specific colors, and then each color is relevant to a specific chakra, and then that's a message. Yeah, tell more. That is so good. Twisted says, I charged my stones and one flew across the floor under the couch. Then my cat was in another room. I had no idea what happened, went under the couch and scooted the stone to me. What a magical moment. And what was the stone? Because it's exactly that kind of weird stuff that would have a message for you. So that stone, you're charging it and it's flying across. And it might be saying, you need to keep me indoors. Don't put me out. You can't afford to have me out of the room even for a day. Or it could be that the cat and the stone had banded together to offer you a type of healing. I'm dying to know what exactly type of stone it was. Kim says, for me, it's dreams, tarot. And sometimes when I wake from a dream, I see almost like shadow symbols that move on the wall, but I'm not sure if I was looking too much into the shadows. That is beautiful. I really struggle with dreams because I'm such a high stress person. I know I appear really chilled out, but I'm on the go like all the time. So the moment I wake up, I have to do something. And it's very rare that I wake up with with 5 minutes to remember the dreams and to write them down. But I have all the advice. So the dream work and the symbols that you're getting, it's really, really handy if you remember your dreams, and especially if you've got some kind of aftershocks of different symbols, different messages that you're getting. It's very, very handy to write them down. So actually what I had this morning, what I had last night, I had an 8-hour sleep, which you have no idea how rare it is. I had like a full 8-hour sleep, and I must have dreamt in Hebrew because I woke up and I was like, oh, I remember a little bit of the dream. I didn't remember a lot, just like enough for 2 sentences. And I picked up my dream diary from beside my bed, and I was writing it, and I was writing it in the dark. So I couldn't really see the others, but I was writing it in Hebrew, and I could just sort of make out that the others were written in English. And I was like, oh, isn't it funny? Don't I always write them in Hebrew? So I was sort of still in the dream. But then I use the same diary for dream diary and for gratitude diary. And then I don't remember if I wrote the gratitude in English or in Hebrew, but that was all this morning, and I wasn't even like fully awake. I'm really trying so hard to sort of get back into the practice of writing my dreams. The practice of writing my dreams, practice of writing your dreams. If you've watched me even once before, let alone multiple times, you will have heard me go on and on and on about how valuable it is to write your dreams. There are so many benefits to writing your dreams as soon as you wake up. So first of all, it helps you remember them. So if you had any messages in the dream, then you're kind of reprocessing them in your wakeful life. Another reason is that it introduces your dream self to your wakeful self so that you become more able to influence the dream when you are in the dream. And for some or another reason, I don't understand exactly why, but it also makes you more able to manifest. There are many, many, many benefits, many advantages. And writing down your dreams is really at the heart, for me, at the heart of many a magical practice. It's like the real ABC. So it's something that I'd recommend to everybody. Ooh, so thank you so much, Kim, for this incredible share. And also the fact that you're putting dreams and tarot. I find that the tarot is very dreamlike. Do you know what I mean? When you look at the pictures, they're really like something that you'd see in a dream. So yeah, thank you so much. It's a really beautiful share. Lorna says leftover food on a plate. I love it. So we are scooting, from left field onto left field, because you can scry, you can receive esoteric messages from literally anything. Leftover food on a plate, absolutely. Your cup of tea, this is coffee, absolutely. You step mud into the carpet, also. You go outside and step in mud. There's a lot of mud where I live. Step in mud, look back at it. There could be a message there. So even the leftover food on a plate, 100% yes. That is as good a message as anywhere else. And it could give you messages. Look at the colors, look at what they evoke, look at whether there's a lot of one thing and a little bit of something else. Look at the missing spaces. Missing spaces are also very important in messages. When you do the tarot, you want to see, like after reading all the messages and stuff, you want to see like how many cups you've got, how many pentacles you've got, and they're only like, wait, we have no swords at all. The missing spaces, the missing messages are also in themselves a message. We've got some messages from Mark, who says, yeah, clouds. I've seen dragons, angels, UFOs, castles, weird shapes, but I can say I've seen them. So yeah, Lorna, yeah, what have you guys seen in clouds? I've got a gorgeous, gorgeous friend who is really into heart shapes. So she'll always sort of find heart-shaped leaves, heart-shaped rocks, and of course heart-shaped clouds. And in a funny way, that is the message. She looks for them, she finds them, she still receives the message. Doesn't matter if you're looking for it. It doesn't have to surprise you. It doesn't have to sort of come at you for no reason. If you look for it, it's still fine. It's still the message. And Rob says, oh, I love it. We've moved to left field and we are staying there. Saying patterns in my bathroom tiles has also given me messages before. And you putting a laughing emoji, I would have put this emoji because I'm so impressed. That is brilliant. So patterns in your bathroom tiles, they might be repetitive, but you can still find a message in the way that they come together. They could form a 5-pointed star. They could form like a half moon and give you a message in that. And then if you've got more like swirly patterns, like more creative arty patterns, they can be meaningful too. They can show you the path that something goes, if the path is sort of getting wider and easier, if your path is getting sort of narrower and more complicated. Kim very kindly says, I love that about you, that you don't charge for healing. No, I really, really believe that what I get from the healing is more than, is more valuable than anything that anyone can pay me. I feel like it's such a privilege to be able to do it. And it's not, put it to the test. If you want healing, even if you want healing regularly, send me a message. I'll take the time and I'll share that with you. Michelle Ann says, I was in the pub with friends years ago and I found a 2p coin on the table. So as a joke, I said, ask me a question. Heads were yes, tails were no. So I spun the coins and the answers were all right. I love that so much. I'm going to do it a special dance. That is so brilliant. I'm going to actually put the message to one side. I'm going to flash this up regularly because how I was saying that getting messages from like weird stuff is a little bit about self-belief, but also about the belief that the universe will deliver, that the universe will give you the message that you need to hear at the time that you need to hear it. So that is exactly it. Ask the question, see what the answer is. Maybe it'll make sense. Maybe, why wouldn't it? Ooh. I'm so sorry. I was just sort of trying to make my photo a little smaller and I disappeared. Shift. Yeah, that's okay. I'm happy with that. Twisted says, so bizarre. I had to share. We love bizarre. Love it, love it, love it. Rob says, a lot of dead animals appearing before has been a message, although I suppose that's more of an omen. Omen, message, tomato. It's a message. It's a message. You wouldn't really want to be reading dead animals, but if the universe wants to communicate something to you, then it does what it needs to do. Sabrina's here, mwah, saying hi and hi to everyone. Michelle Ann says, high magic. The 2p coin is high magic indeed. I'm just flashing up all of your messages. Michelle Ann says, yeah, the apple skin. I think, isn't it true that there's actually sort of quite a few different magics, and especially love magics, that utilize the apple or the apple skin? I think the apple is sort of quite central to love messages. And Michelle Ann says, Robert, that's so amazing. Ooh, so Twisted, who had a stone independently kick itself under the sofa and the cat kicking it back out, says the stone was a tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is, I don't want to say it's one of my favorite stones, but it's certainly the one that I probably use the most. And tiger's eye, I use really unapologetically for financial reasons. And the tiger's eye is just a very practical stone. So it'll be for money, for health, for feeling stronger, for feeling more established. So if that got kicked into the house and then the cat was sort of kicking it back to you, it might be saying, be more shameless, more fearless about asking for what you're worth. So if you're needing to go into like a salary negotiations, or if you're needing to assert your value in any kind of an environment, that could be the message from the tiger's eye. Right, so we've got the full story from Rob. Everybody sit down, get your cup of tea, and I'm going to read you out a phenomenal story. It's so good to learn from other people who are on a similar path to you and who might be experiencing things in different ways. I feel like I learn all the time just from chatting to people about this kind of path. And it's not always messages that you'll get from people who are literally on this path. Sometimes it will be somebody who lives really in the very, very ordinary world, but they will have had an experience. They've got nobody to tell, or they think, people will make fun of them. And then they'll come and share. And then, you can still sort of learn such a lot. So I'm going to have a sip and read. So Rob was explaining before how for a while he used to see people as flowers, and then the color of the flower would be connected to the chakra that was the same color, and that would be the message. So he says, okay, so just people. If I think of them, I think of a flower. The flower / color can be a message. Michelle-Anne, for instance, if I think of you as a flower right now, I think of a pink tulip. That's so you. Possibly telling us right now is a time of deep, deep self-healing and a period of self-forgiveness and compassion, for instance. Could be having an epiphany of why you had to go through past pain and the personal growth it gave you. Something like that, he said. Sorry to pick on you, Michelle-Anne. But Michelle-Anne says, that's lovely, Robert. I lost my mum back in November. So I'm doing a lot of self-reflection and healing. That pink tulip really is on a point. And Rob said, I'm sorry to hear that. If you find any pink tulips, bring some inside. Is it tulip time? I think it might be getting there. So she says, I will remember to do that. Thanks. I'm not sure when tulips come out, but I'll definitely get some. I don't know, like I'm no farmer, but I think tulips are one of the first ones of spring. So we've had the snowdrops, haven't we? And we're just sort of getting cracking with the daffodils. Not so much in Yorkshire, but I'm guessing where you are, maybe a little bit more daffodilly. And I think the tulips will be pretty soon after. Lorna says, yes, Robert, or staring at a wall or even a carpet or flooring. So Robert mentioned before that he'll get messages in the tiles in his bathroom. So Lorna Nicole adds to it, staring at a wall, carpet, flooring, all beautiful, beautiful systems. Michelle-Anne says, faces in trees, rocks, and shrubs. And I adore that, because finding actual faces, like a shape where you can sort of make out maybe two eyes and a mouth, maybe just a nose and a mouth, two eyes and a nose, sideways on, an eye and a nose, can really sort of give you a message, but can also show the personality of that object, of that item. And I think when you have stuff that is, humanoid, that is a face, you can also sort of pose questions to it. Do you know what I mean? So you can say, is this, is this the right moment for me to do so and stuff like that? Kim says tiger's eye makes sense, twisted. And Michelle-Anne says, love seeing things in tiles and clouds. Mark goes, ask a question, cosmic order, and get the answer. Amazing. Lauren Nicole, greetings, Sabrina. Michelle-Anne says, apple pips for fertility. I remember when needing to fast for like a magical thing, that if somebody needed to break the fast, if it was sort of too arduous for them, that they could have apples, because when you cut an apple like sideways, do you know what I mean, so that you see all the pips, there's like a 5-pointed star inside, so it was considered magical. So yeah, cute. Sabrina says, I heard apple. Well, a green apple for employment, the seed inside of it. Right, yes. So anything with seeds really is great for abundance. If I had to do abundance stuff, I would go straight from melon. melon, yellow melon, honeydew melon, all the seeds on the inside, they just scream abundance. They're like so fruitful. Twisted saying thank you, Inbaal, with lots of hearts. And look who we have here. Tor says hello from Tor and Dylan. 2 hearts for the 2 of you. Mark shares, mentioning that a few times now. I got to bed with my necklace on, you know which one. I leave it on about 4 times. I have been off in the morning and neatly put at the side of my pillow. You want to leave some nice treats for the fairies that clearly live in your house. You want to leave them little fairy offerings, maybe little crumbs from like cakes or cookies, maybe little thimbles or seashells full of water. If you've got the fairies enjoying their time in your house, then then you've got to show your appreciation. Mark greeting Dor in Swedish. Very cute. Comment. Ooh, right. Michelin says, I forgot to tell you, Inbaal, that your wealth oil is awesome. Is it working for you? It's worked for me in such an insane way that I don't even know if you can tell, but now I have a migraine because I'm like working all the time. But it's like incredible. I tell you a funny thing. So the wealth oils works for me very, very beautifully. So 1 week and 1 day ago, my good man, who has handed in his notice. Okay, it happens. Nothing lined up. And they said to him, okay, we need for you to finish on Friday, and then we're going to pay you till June. And I'm like, I didn't even like sprinkle the wealth oil on him, just sprinkling wealth oil on me. But yeah, it works so nicely. If I got one in my bag, no, I'll show you it a little bit later. There's no elegant way for me to sort of run and get it and come back. Am I able to add something to the screen? I don't know if I can show picture of the oil. If I media asset, I'm trying to see if I can add a picture of the oil to show you. I'm not sure if I can do it. I hope you can still see me. I do hope. PC, no. So I'm trying to sort of pop onto my PC to see whether I can add anything. And my PC has got such a lot of stuff on it. Right, there we go. So, can you see? This is my oil. I put it there in the corner. Flash, 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 flash. Look how sophisticated. So this is my wealth oil. This is actually, is it my wealth? It might be my love oil. Looks the same. One says wealth on it, one says love on it. They have different ingredients inside. But me and my friend Amanda together designed and created a couple of magical oils that we sell. And the wealth oil, I mean, you can make it yourself. It's just that, we already make it, we bless it, make it under a full moon in the New Forest. And then I bless it personally here. The wealth oil has got mint oil and basil oil, which are like my personal go-tos when it comes to manifesting wealth. And send it everywhere. But yeah, I'm so thrilled that you're enjoying it. Kim says, I'm constantly flying in my dreams like a fairy. I love that. Do you retain that flying feeling, when you're awake? Because I remember flying at a very young age, and I remember flying in like a real life way. Obviously, it was impossible, but it was some kind of a projection. I don't know exactly. But yeah, flying in dreams is such an incredible message. It kind of overcomes anything. Michelle says, oh yeah, says, it smells so good. Thank you. I'll be honest, I favor the love oil because the love oil is like, it's so Pisces, and that's got like my favorite fragrances like rose geranium. So it's, so the love oil I've got like burning in the house, but I wear the wealth oil on my hands because even though it's not necessarily like my favorite fragrance, I'm gonna make it my favorite fragrance because it works, because it does the job. Mark says, oh, that's a bummer, right? Essen not working at the moment. It happens, as we all know, but it's good that they're paying until June. Yeah, no, that's exactly it, because it's not a struggle. He'll always get work because he's got a really, really good CV and stuff. And if he couldn't stay in that job, if the pressure was too much, then, obviously I support him. You want to quit 100%. But it's never happened to him before that he'd get, basically paid for days that he's not there. Like, never happened. So that was interesting that it happened. Sabrina, another satisfied customer with oil. I use it also. I rub it in my hand, especially when I'm sending out job applications. It's been amazing. So this is like years ago, probably coming up to 20 years ago. I made a blend like that just from my little oils at home. And it was like before emails. Like, emails existed, but they weren't like how you would send things for like a serious job. And I was offered the opportunity to do the horoscope for Elle magazine, for Elle UK. So I sent them some samples and I put them in a green folder, green for wealth, and I rubbed them with that kind of oil, and I got the job. Speaking of, I hate to show off, but I'm going to have to show off. This is today's Daily Star, and this is, sorry, this is somebody naked. This is me. And these are some astrological compatibility analysis with lots of jokes. They made it like a really jokey feature, but I am so proud of it. Like, my friend who's a journalist sent me a message in the morning. I don't know if you saw the Daily Star, but you have a DPS. I don't know what a DPS is. And I thought, could it be like a double page spread? And it was. So very, very excited today. Mark says full moon is soon, 13th, I think, blood moon, and then a few days later it's your day. It is. So the full moon is on the 14th, worm moon, also blood moon, also crow moon, and yeah, the 15th is my birthday, and and some other birthdays. Kim says, it's so weird, it's almost like in my dream I can feel my wings revving up, so to speak. I know exactly what you mean. That is amazing. I wonder whether in a past life you were I don't know, like a breeder for doves, or like a keeper, or had an aviary or something. Rob says, I use the love oil every time I light a candle. I offer it to the gods. You're a better person than literally any of us. I offer it to the me. I offer the love oil to me. I offer the wealth oil to me. Well, I offer to the gods. It's my devotion. But all the love and the wealth, I take it. I take it. Michelle says, thanks, everyone. Got to bounce. Mwah. And Michelle Ann says, I think the love oil will be next on my list. That will happen when you are ready for a relationship, or when you are ready to exit a relationship that is bad for you, so that you can go into a relationship that is good for you. And the love oil is really, really risky. It's really, really risky, because you could be like fully in a relationship and fully committed, and then the love oil will come and be like, you know, babe, you can do better. Why don't we do better? Why don't I make things better for you? And then the relationship that you thought was all right falls apart because it turns out that the person was not what you thought they were. Do you know what I mean? Mark says, any good partner, wife, husband will always support them for doing the right thing. Same as friends. Exactly. Lorna says, well done, Inbaal. Thank you. Kim says, yeah, you're in the newspaper. Thank you. I'm trying so hard not to show off. I'm like, I'm so excited about it. Rob says to Michelle Ann, it literally smells like what you imagine Aphrodite, Venus, and Isis to smell like. It's such a Pisces smell. You would love it. It's such, because it's like, it's floral, but like if flowers were inside chocolate, you know. Twisted says, congratulations, Inbaal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Michelle Ann says it's an eclipse. Yes, so this full moon, absolutely. It's a total lunar eclipse. And the eclipse is a great time for you to find out what people are really about. So you might be able to hide some stuff that you want to hide. But if you want to uncover things, if you want to discover things about other people, then now is the time. Sabrina says the love oil smells so good. Love it, love it, love it. Good for Cancerians too, isn't it? Kim says my birthday the 17th. Ooh, how many Pisces and Cancerians have we got here? And Michelle Ann says 16th is mine. So we're like a, oh, what do you call like a row of three in poker? Is it a royal flush? Are we a flush? So 15, 16, 17. Mark says, indeed, I know the other birthdays as well, and that day and days after. So me and one of my kids are on the 15th, and then two of my kids are on the 18th. So we make a full, royal flush. So we've got 15, 16 Michelle Ann, 17 Kim, 18 for my youngest and my eldest. Sabrina says, I wear the love oil every day. That's the truth. Michelle Ann says, no, not a relationship, just coming from the heart. Safer. Safer, safer, safer. So the love oil is for opening your heart chakra and for connecting with the world in that kind of way. And I think, especially for us as Pisces, it's risky, isn't it? Because we feel so much that it can be too much. But when you invite magic to do it for you, then then you're kind of putting the responsibility in its hands. Mark says, I'm happy single and not intending of going into anymore, but hey, I'm an Aquarius. It's how we roll. Yeah. Laura Nicole says, Inbaal, where do we see the oils to buy? Come to me. Are we friends on Facebook? I've got them on my other website. Got like a couple of websites. Neither of them works very well, so so neither of them does a thing. But yeah, just come to me if we're friends on Facebook. Come to me on the messenger. I'll send you some pictures and stuff. Rob says the love oil making things better for me. Well, thank you to the oil and you creators of it, of course. Anything that happens now, I blame the oil. You should. I do. Lorna Nicole says a hat trick. We're a hat trick. And Kim says, wow, let's start a tribe. Lorna Nicole says, I need to get back on Facebook. And Rob says, interesting. Heart chakra came out for you twice tonight, Michelle Ann. Pay attention, right? With a pink. Amazing. That was a fabulous chat. We're coming to the end of our time together. So I would like to thank you for spending this time with me. I'm going to be back on, hopefully, Thursday lunchtime with Laura Dallaghan for our I call it psychic brunch, but Laura insists on calling it second breakfast, so I get confused when I try to think what's our show's name. So the messages that have come since, I'm going to flash them on the screen as you're watching our closing credits. I hope to see you next week for another riveting chat about all things psychic. If you want to keep in touch, all my details are scrolling at the bottom. My website is inbaal.com. My Instagram is inbaalpsychic. And you can find me on Facebook. Come and chat to me to make sure that I'm not one of the people who say I'm me and are not. Have an amazing week. Sending you lots and lots of love. Good night.